with Megyn Kelly.
New reaction now to a disastrous public relations move by Starbucks intended to encourage conversations about race. That idea, that created about a week of controversy before hitting the trash can with the latest batch of French roast grounds. Ironically, almost none of those people is reporting on Starbucks. None of those people is focusing on another conversation, like how the mainstream media and some very public personalities helped push a lie about racially charged events in Ferguson, Missouri. Now, some in the media, after being publicly shamed, are starting to come around. Trace Gallagher details the story tonight from Los Angeles. Trace?
Megyn, the very same reason that much of the media got the Duke Lacrosse and Trayvon Martin cases wrong is also why they got the Michael Brown case wrong, a basic failure to tell both sides of the story. In fact, the hands up, don't shoot mantra was born from the eyewitness account of Dorian Johnson, the man who was with Michael Brown when they were confronted by Officer Darren Wilson. Watch.
He turned around and he put his hands in the earth and he started to get down, but the officer still approached with his weapon drawn and he fired several more shots, and my friend died.
And even though that and every other statement Johnson made was untrue, it drove the anger in Ferguson and the narrative across the country. Listen.
We want you to know that our hearts are out there marching with them.
A cold-blooded murder, said CNN's top legal analyst, and execution, says MSNBC. Where was the information about Dorian Johnson having a lengthy criminal record, including a conviction for lying to police? And where were the eyewitness accounts that fully backed up Officer Darren Wilson? They were here on the Kelly file, which was still accused of bias. Watch this.
You have to let both sides be heard. And if both sides are heard and you have conflicting evidence, a good prosecutor gets an indictment and then he takes that to a trial.
On this show and this channel, unlike any other, you get both sides.
Not even the Michael Baden autopsy showing that Michael Brown wasn't shot from behind could sway the protesters. It took the Department of Justice to finally knock down the hands up, don't shoot myth. Watch.
It remains not only valid, but essential to question how such a strong alternative version of events was able to take hold so swiftly and to be accepted so readily.
And while the accusations rang from coast to Capitol Hill, the apology bandwagon is moving slow and silent. The Conservative Media Research Center finds that NBC, ABC, and CBS mentioned hands up, don't shoot a combined 140 times. Only CBS declared that the DOJ report says the narrative was untrue, and so the media was called on the carpet. Watch.
We saw members of Congress on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, hands in the air, saying, hands up, don't shoot. And if one of them has so far apologized for misleading America, we haven't heard it. Enough is enough.
And only after did the Washington Post's Jonathan Capehart admit it was a lie. CNN is also reevaluating based on unreliable eyewitness accounts, the very same eyewitness accounts they had earlier relied on. Megyn.
Trace, thanks. And as Trace mentioned, a number of Fox News broadcasts urged caution on the reporting from Ferguson, with our initial warnings coming within days of the original shooting and continuing through the Department of Justice final report. Watch. Breaking tonight, President Obama dispatching his Attorney General Eric Holder to Ferguson, Missouri after the police shooting of a black 18-year-old leads to riots. And tonight, for the first time, we are hearing from supporters of the officer behind the gun with what they are calling his side of the story. Welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. We also got our hands on the official autopsy report of Michael Brown that appears to refute the hands-up narrative that has fueled violent protests for months.
You are, because you're out there doing this, and this may be a lie.
See? And I got that. You made that point. To hear those other witnesses that you are not bringing up.
But you know what?
You're telling one side of the story, and you're doing your viewers a disservice.
No, I'm not. Listen, they've heard that. They've heard that repeatedly. Here on this. All right, sir. Now it's my turn.
But what this report finds, Megyn, finds is that there is a broad pattern of
racist policing that gives all cops a bad name. Look, I grew up in
So that justifies this, Mark? What we saw?
It
All these folks with their hands up, don't shoot, which did not